Halal investing is actually quite easy. In this 7th video of the Muslim Investing 101 series, I'll share how that's the case. Halal is easy. This is the 5th mental shortcut that Muslims need to remember in the world of investing. Remember that we've already discussed that investing itself is solved. And the approach there is to remember that you're saving for 5 or more years, you are owning the market, and you are trying to keep fees as low as possible. And so for the standard investor, the person who is saving for 5 or more years, that would look like this. If this is the market, you would try to buy the entire market through something called maybe an index fund. But for Muslims, not all of these companies would be engaged in Shari'ah-compliant business. There are standards, organizations, and experts who determine what is and what is not a compliant business. But what we need to know is that investing or buying an index fund of this sort, because of the mix of compliant and non-compliant companies, would largely be considered not halal. And so what's the goal of halal market investing? It's simply to remove the non-compliant companies and render a Sharia-compliant fund. That's all it is. It's removing the non-compliant companies, keeping the compliant companies, and rendering a Sharia-compliant version of that fund. And so halal investing is just buying low-fee Sharia-compliant funds, and the reason why it's so easy is because there aren't very many of them available. There are 2 ways to passively invest in Sharia-compliant funds. The first is the DIY method, to do it yourself. This is the cheapest way to do it because there is no asset under management fee. You are yourself managing your own funds. And so you would open up a brokerage account in your country, Questrade in Canada, M1 Finance in the US, Trading 212 in the UK, for instance, and then you would fund that, buy the actual Sharia compliant funds yourself, and then have some method. Each of these usually have some form of automation built in, or one that you can overlay it, in the case of Questrade, called passive, and begin the automation so that when money comes, it automatically or close to automatically purchases the Sharia compliant funds that you've determined. So that would be the cheapest way to do it, is to do it yourself. The other option would be to use a robo-advisor, and here fees vary between 0.9% to 1.6%, still relatively cheap given the other option with active management, higher than what we'd like, but it's convenient because all you need to do is open the account and then automate, and everything is taken care for you. DIY is the cheapest, but this is quite convenient. The other thing to note is that generally speaking, with these robo-advisors, you can begin with just $1, whereas in some instances with the other DIY options, you have to have around $1,000 to begin investing itself. Now let's bring this all home. We need to note that in investing, there are levels to the game. At the bottom, there's someone who's in debt, who is well underwater, and whose number one goal should be to get out of debt. We'll talk about debt in a forthcoming section. Up a level is somebody who is not saving, meaning somebody who is using all of this month's money for this month's spending, not saving anything into the future. And then you have someone who is saving, but saving only in cash. And the reason why they are underwater is because they are losing the purchasing value of the money that they are saving because of inflation. And then above water is somebody who is investing with an active manager. This is someone who is taken on the path of investing, but whose investment is being eaten away either by an active manager who is trying to beat the market, which is a losing strategy in the long term, or because of fees. And then this is the one that's highlighted, investing with a robo-advisor, somebody who has taken on the approach of passively investing, but is paying slightly higher fees than they would be if they were do-it-yourself investors in index funds. And so if you end up being an investor with a robo-advisor, consider yourself one of the few who've ascended the investing iceberg. This video is part of the Muslim Investing 101 series. Be sure to check out the entire playlist. And if you find the videos on this channel beneficial, please like, subscribe, and share.